Brakatia Hawul, Brakatia Hushai, Brakatia Hawul, Brakatia Hushai, Brakatia Hawul, Brakatia Hawul, Bashim Yahushai, Bahashim, Rachak, Udash. God belongs to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone True Well. Salutation to the hopefully elect out there, Yuakim to Sadakim that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. I'm the priest Shaman. I'm going to be going into war updates. You know what I'm saying? What's going on over there in the Middle East, where we at overall with war. And the Iranians, man, America wasn't ready for how resilient they would be. You know, they're very adamant about their cause, and this was not no easy one peasy thing where you come in and take over that Strait of Hormuz. First of all, it shows the hypocrisy. They're trying to fight to so-called open the strait, right? The strait was open. The Strait of Hormuz was open. It's closed because of you devils went over there and tried to control that region. But them so-called Iranians, they're fierce. You see? This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15 verse 30. It says, also the Carmenians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood. The Carmenians are the Iranians, Persians. Notice too that, you know, the Carmenians are known as fierce warriors because that's what the Iranians are known for throughout history. You know, that kingdom has been established for over 25. The Persians, they've been around for 2,500 years, and their kingdom they're a strong kingdom. Now, granted, the so-called East Indian over there in India, they're Elamites too, but they're not the same. You know what I'm saying? So it's putting the emphasis. Like when I say the same, they're the same Elamites, but you know these are Persians amongst the Elamites. You know, they're the wild boar type spirit of the wood. It says, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. Right. So the modern day Assyrians, the modern day Assyria is America, man. Okay. And they're gonna jack you guys up. Let's lock here. Let me see. Let's go to this is Proverbs chapter 21 verse 31. It says, the horse is prepared against the day of the battle, but safety is of the Lord. And the reason I brought the scripture out is because if you was doing it might for might, America will win, right? Because America has like the largest military in the world. But the way the Lord got this battle set up, sometimes you don't gotta just beat the shit out your enemy. Sometimes just lasting is winning. You know what I'm saying? Outlasting them is winning. And that's how their mindset is set up. If we could fuck up the world economy long enough, at some point they will fold. And there's talks now. I'm hearing things on both sides. You know what I'm saying? I'm hearing that the Americans are over there with the F-22 Raptors, which is like one of the super powerful stealth jet. They'll be able to spot these underground bases of ballistic missiles. They got 3 of them over there, and I'm hearing that Trump is planning to abandon the war. Come up with some shit to try to get out of there. You know what I'm saying? Because his approval rating is down super bad. At the end of the day, you know, this devil's gonna do whatever the elites want him to do. You know, that dude is completely compromised. And as they say, all wars are bankers' wars, right? So it's really up to what the elites are trying to do with the situation. But yeah, they're not taking Iran. The amount of generals they done killed and all that. The IGRC has been decentralized, man. Okay, so that you can't cut the head off. Right? You cut the head. This thing is like the Hydra. They're like the Hydra. You know. So this dude is gonna have to back out in shame. You see? Again, the Most High does not. The Most High has certain particular plans for Russia, Iran, in terms of World War III. All right, and there's nowhere that it says that you got the Americans will seize Iran. You know, got another precept just going back to the point that the Lord is the one that's ultimately going to decide the battle, not how much military might you have per se. You know, Hell, look at there was one point where the Persians was the largest military in the world, right? And Alexander the Greek. So see, it flipped. You know, it was still Elamites versus Edomites, but it flipped. Persians were the greatest in terms of just outright might, strong empire. But Alexander won that battle. All right. You know, I mean, brothers have brought out the point that there's even certain accounts, you know, verbally, orally, that, you know, the chariots intervened to make Alexander win the battle. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 20, verse 1. It says, when thou goest out to battle against thine enemies, and seest horses and chariots and a people more than thou, be not afraid of them, right? So this is going into the, you know, law concerning war. And you go into battle and you see guys outnumbering you, all right? Maybe 3-1, 4-1. The Lord said, don't worry about it, all right? It says, for the Lord thy power is with thee, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. So the Most High is with you, nothing could be against you. See, so when even when it's two heathen nations, when they go into war, the Most High is he's gonna move the chessboard how he wants it to determine the outcome of who he wants to win. You know? And war is completely changed, man. It's not being fought in a traditional sense where it's just get a bunch of boots on the ground and hit you with my largest artillery. It's being fought very differently, man. A lot of it is autonomous now. You know, drones and swarm drones and, you know, ballistic missiles. It's just different. It's just being fought differently. You know what I'm saying? Where having the most advanced military doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna have the edge of the battle, right? Because your shit, and this is what's big with Iran right now, the missiles that the anti-defense missiles and the THAAD system and these different anti-defense missile systems that the United States is using and Israel is using, that shit's expensive, man. It's not cheap. It's not cheap, man. That shit is like millions of dollars just to replace one. You know, so they bleeding the hell out of them. Where in Iran have these $20,000 drones, they have ballistic missiles that have flares, right? So they'll shoot a ballistic missile. The ballistic missile will shoot out of flares, and that would mess with the THAAD system, the surface to air defense missile system. That would mess with it because the missiles got flares on them. You see, you got swarm drones, all these different tactics. You know. Constantly keeping your surface-to-air missile defense systems on the move. Okay? The Most High is behind that, man. So it's all eyes on Trump. Like I said in another lesson, the guy wants to exit. Again, this is a surface level. The guy wants to exit, but can't. Why? Because if you exit, you're going to be known as the president who knelt. Because at the end of it, who's benefited the most from this situation with Iran? Russia did. China did. All right? Iran is looking far more powerful, but the U.S. is looking weak. You know? A lot more nations are hating Israel, and this is all setting up Ezekiel the 38th chapter. This is prophesied, man. All the stuff that's happening goes right back into the Bible. All right? Joel chapter 3 verse 9 says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. This is talking about them alliances, all right, these nations have. All right. Now, Trump was like, well, calling on these other nations, oh, you're a part of NATO, you should come help us out. But according to NATO's Article 5, right, another NATO nation has the option to come and join you if you are attacked. But America's doing the attacking. You guys are on the offense, you're not on the defense. You know, and then why would those nations then go ahead and fight for Israel and America when Trump embarrassed them, you know, and put heavy tariffs on them? So that's not how you make friends. You make friends, you get strong allies by building bridges, not breaking them. It says, Salakia. Shit is messing up right now. says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Right? So these other nations now are saying that they're strong. All right? How are they now strong? Because look, you don't need the missiles, right? You don't need the missiles if you're Iran. If you can control the Strait of Hormuz, that's a super leverage. And I say missiles, I mean nuclear missiles, right? And guess what? Russia and your top allies, they have nuclear capabilities, man. You don't have to waste your money doing that shit. But the son of the Ayatollah that passed away, guess what? He's very hardline. He's out for revenge, man. You can't kill a man, his family, his father, wound him, and expect him just to be over the shit. Nah, man. Man's is out for blood. Right now, my Bible app is acting up, man. But when you go into the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter, where I was reading from the 9th verse on down, it speaks about the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is Yahweh Shabbat. That's over there in the Middle East. And if you look at the situation where, like, let's say, for example, the Strait of Hormuz and the Strait of Bab, which is now being occupied by the Houthis, Houthis of Yemen, okay? That's the Red Sea. All right? So you can see that there's a reason all the tension over there is happening in the Middle East, because it's prophesied that's where World War III is going to kick. The only reason we've not entered World War III yet is because the RFID microchip, which is the mark of the beast, has to be mandated. That's a prophecy that has to come to pass. All right? The scripture says, who is he that saith it cometh to pass if the Most High commanded it not, right? So the Most High commanded that, hey, the RFID microchip, which is the mark of the beast, is going to be implemented on the world scale level, all right, enforced upon people. And if you don't get it, you could face persecution or even death. That's a major prophecy that has to come to pass. Once that it comes to pass, World War III is already staged, man. We're getting closer and closer each day. You know? So my app is fucking up. I had Ezekiel 38 chapter 2. Just going into the pivotal role that Russia's playing, being an ally to Iran and these African nations and these Middle Eastern nations. And soon, honestly, the way things are looking, a lot of nations that are allied with the U.S. are going to turn their back on the United States and join Russia, shooting missiles upon this place during World War III. You know, so that's just a little update, man. They're saying that Trump is planning to abandon it, but they're doing something. They're doing a lot of what they call it, jawboning, right? And then to manipulate markets. So one minute they're saying they're ending it to make the markets green. Next minute they're saying it's to intensify it to make the markets red. And they're profiteering like crazy. People are making so much money just off the information that's being spread. You see? So that was just a little update. I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushua, Ba'ashim Chak Wadash. That belongs to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone True Well. Salutations to the hopefully elect out there. Yohakim to Zedakim. Do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. Shalom.